Here's what's coming up on today's show.
The other day, Connie and I were talking over dinner, and it just came up about how we wanted to emulate some of the retirees that we helped to build financial plans for. Many of our clients actually inspire us. And so we thought, why don't we do an episode talking about the things that we admire about some of our clients and things that we would hope to emulate just by watching their lives and kind of how it's gone for them in their own next chapter.
This is the Money Master Podcast from Brindle and Bay Wealth Management with Tori Tenhagen, Connie Davis, and certified financial planner Nick Davis.
Welcome back to the Money Master Podcast, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Connie here, along with Nick and Tori. And today we're talking about retirees that we would like to emulate.
Yeah, these are people we know.
Yes, these are people that are here in and out every day. Some of them for years, some for months, some for weeks. But before we hop into it, how are you guys doing? Like, what's happening in your world?
Summer and it's hot already.
Yeah.
It's not even July and August and it's already hot.
You walked into the office today and the first words,
it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah. Well, it feels less hot because we just got back from Costa Rica. And I said, the one thing that was really nice is that you come back to Texas and you're like, wow, this isn't so bad.
It's
so
not even
humid
90.
there.
The high is not even 90 today, and I'm already whining about it. So it's going to be a long summer, but we'll make it.
Just go somewhere hotter, and then you'll come back and feel.
Yeah.
I've grown up here my whole life. We just grin and bear it. Turn the ACs down.
Yeah, well, it's worse for where you used to be from. Wasn't it more humid near Houston?
Yeah, near Houston, it's very humid. Yeah. We called it a swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sticky.
You get the humidity of Florida, but you don't get the benefits of the beaches and
Humidity and mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Oh, we have beaches. They're just brown Gulf of Mexico beaches.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever we decide to go to the beach, we're like, well, we'll go to Florida.
Yeah. No, it's not Surfside and Galveston, all that.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, let's talk about some of the clients that we emulate. I mean, we get to hear so many stories of what our clients are doing or what they're looking forward to doing when they retire. And like Nick said earlier, I mean, they really do inspire us. And
that's kind of the fun part of our job because we can do a lot of the number stuff. That's where we live and we operate a lot. But it's kind of fun to hear what they're doing and experiencing.
Yeah. I mean, Nick mentioned we just got back from Costa Rica, and one of our favorite things we did there was a catamaran tour. And some of our clients have their daughter owns a catamaran. Yeah. And now I feel like...
They live on it now, I think. That's their tour. They tour it.
Yeah. And now I feel like, now I can understand even more, like what they're describing. It was a really great experience.
Yeah. In fact, the family just retired and they spend a lot of their time up north and then back in Texas, but then their children moved somewhere tropical, and I don't want to say the place because I don't want to get it wrong, with their catamaran. And so they're spending a lot of time there as well. So that's pretty amazing to be able to spend so much time doing what they're doing.
Yeah, very exciting.
But it's not just what they're doing that inspires us. It's actually who they are as people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember when we were able to tell them they could retire, and the look on their face, the sense of relief and the, just the elation for being in that point, there was just a lot of gratitude, a lot of humility, and the way they celebrated, they went up to a special place that they had a family memory at, and they stayed there for a couple of months, and then they came back to Texas, and just being able to watch them, how they're walking it out, just who they are as people as well, really kind of inspired us.
Yeah, for sure. As we were talking about this before the podcast, we kind of separated to like groups of people because we do see a lot of similarities. Yes. And one of them that I don't think this group of people necessarily had an intention for this to happen, but a lot of health and wellness begin to flourish after they retired.
Yeah.
Right? Well,
I think we've had that conversation multiple times when people walk in the office of like, oh my goodness, you look so good. What are you doing? And it's I have time to go on walks. I have time to
And it's hard
think
to tell
about my
through Zoom.
food. Yeah.
Or sometimes you see it through Zoom because most people don't come in the office, but it's seeing them through Zoom. To me, like, I don't want to say something, but I think you're losing weight.
Yeah.
Are you losing weight?
Like,
oh,
oh
you
my gosh,
hop on the camera and you're like, you
Your skin looks so good. What are you doing?
You look different. Good different. Not bad different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you think they put a filter on their Zoom or something?
And that's hopefully not what they did. And they're like, nope, look the same. It's just.
I mean, we have one guy. He comes to my mind, and he was just over the moon excited because during his working time, he had been on a decent amount of medications, and he was very stressed. And then we saw him about a year after he retired, and it was actually through Zoom.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and he just went on and on and on about how excited he was, how good he felt physically, how much weight he had lost,
and being able to play tennis and do things that he used to love.
And we were like, well, what are you doing different? He goes, nothing. I'm just not working.
I'm just less stressed.
So he was able to get off like 90% of his medications. Yeah.
So you finally were able to keep that diet. Or that residual stress. That was,
Yeah. And it makes sense too, because if you have more time, and it's always been a goal of yours to maybe make healthier meals or eat healthier just in general, right? And you have the time to prepare those meals,
or find joy in it. I think that's something that just, have more time for. Like, I'm just going to do this for the sake of doing it and enjoy it. And you don't get to do that as much when you're working a 9 to 5 or,
I think what inspired this episode, actually, when Connie and I were having dinner one night, we were celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary, and we were just kind of reminiscing. And it was how these people are capturing their life, the best moments, meaning it seems like they might have been waiting to live, okay? Meaning work maybe hindered them, something hindered them, and retiring was a big enough trigger/reset for them. But it seems like we should probably be living that way more when we're younger, where we're capturing more of those moments. In fact, Tori and I were talking about this, it's the summertime right now, right? Your kids are young.
Yeah, we've got young ones still.
She said, she goes, I'm sorry that I'm, being different with my schedule with meeting. And I said,
my kids have tennis camp, and my kids have this, that, and the other, and we're shuffling them places. And
3 weeks and the summer's over. I'm like, that's going to be a flash in the pan.
We've got tennis camp and one vacation, and they're back in school.
Yeah, your priority is absolutely to spend that time with them. Now, we have the luxury of doing that because we're a boutique planning firm. But if you're working for big corporate, you might not have that ability.
Right.
Now, this morning on the way to the office, I was thinking, man, I should be taking time off to go fishing with my son who's out right now, out of school.
But that takes intentionality and effort to say, I need to take, because I think we are hardwired to work and produce, and, that's what we all are wanting to do.
Right.
And it's hard to step back and be like, no, I'm gonna focus on something else right now. And I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Big time.
Up to retirement, but then I think a lot of people struggle with it when they're retired. Of like, what the heck am I going to do?
Yeah.
Now I don't have my job and I'm just aimless.
Yeah.
And these people we're talking about have chosen not to do that. They've chosen to really, we said, live in their dreams. Like that kind of just like, I'm enjoying this phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been very inspirational to see how they're doing that. Hey there. Quick break to let you know that each week I send out an email. It's called Nick's Memo. Super creative name, I know. But this isn't your normal market commentary. It's my thoughts to help you make sense of what's going on in the financial world. So for example, I'll give you a few of the last week's headlines. One of them was called Life Cycle of Bull Markets. And I talk about the 4 phases of bull markets and how you can tell which phase that we're in. Or another topic the week before that was called Comfort is a Moving Target. And I talked about the crises that we hear about, that we see, that we genuinely face all the time. It is disturbing, but how to put that into perspective and be okay regardless of what we're hearing and seeing. And one more topic for you, a couple weeks before that, is what does it take to feel wealthy? And that was based on an interesting study about how much money people have, and yet they still feel they don't feel wealthy. So what does it take to feel wealthy? So if you're interested in getting that every Friday, then all you have to do is text us the word MEMO. That's MEMO. And you're going to text it to our business line at 214-988-9178. That's 214-988-9178. And we'll get you subscribed to the weekly memo.
Another kind of group of people that we really emulate or want to emulate is they have the best of the both worlds. right? So we have people that are still working and they absolutely love their career. They love what they're doing. They enjoy the people that they're around when they go to work, but they also are being intentional.
They're not waiting to live their life.
Yes, they're traveling. They're going and doing the things that they want to do now. They're taking time in the morning to do yoga classes. So they're being very intentional, but they truly have the best of both worlds, which is
maybe when you were younger, you were rushing the kids off to school and then you had to go to work. But now you can actually say, I'm going to do yoga in the morning and then get to work a little later. And it just changes your dynamic to where you're like, okay, it's a different season. I can acknowledge that I'm in a different season.
Well, I mean, I think I've heard you say that. Like, I don't know that I fully ever want to fully retire, but I want to be able to
make it more enjoyable.
Make what I do fit my lifestyle.
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Speaking along these lines, we might have mentioned this in another episode, but one of the things we're doing for our culture here at Brindle and Bay in our small team is for the next 3 months? Yeah, 3 months. For the next 3 months, we're all taking a random day off of work for no reason other than to just do something that we want to do, meaning we're not running errands, we're not going to the doctor. We're just doing something like going golfing. For me, being
Connie's
in the wood shop.
organizing her pantry.
Yeah.
Which Abigail did for me, so I don't have
to.
But there's a principle in doing that, right? The reason that you do that is to train yourself that, some things are more important, meaning work can wait, right? And it's so hard to do for me because I know I set this a goal, and Tori's the only one who's successfully done it.
I've done it one time, but y'all both had to pump me up the day before. Turn off your Voxer, do not check your email.
Stop looking
very
at Slack.
hard.
Yeah, I'm like, why? It's sometimes it's a Saturday afternoon, and I have to yell at Tori, get off your Slack.
It's just
You're hardwired to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would say another group that has really stood out to us is that they are living their experiences. They're living into what they were imagining 5-10 years ago while they were working, while they were in that accumulation stage, right? And they were thinking about, what do we want to do when we retire? Yeah. Well, they're at that stage now. And it's just so exciting watching them living those desires, whether it's going in their RV and traveling around the world, whether it's taking a motorcycle trip halfway across the country. There's so many things, whether it's spending extra amounts of time with their grandchildren because they can. The list goes on and on.
They're making new friends because there's other people who are also slowing down who it's kind of like college again, where everybody becomes easy friends, you know?
Yeah. Doing the things that you want to do.
Yeah. And I can say for me that, it's taking me a long time, but one of the things that you hear a lot is be present because the time goes by, it goes by so fast. And, it's taken me a while, but for the last several years, I think, I've made it a good point, a good intention to slow down and to be present with our kids, to be present with each other, to be present with, my parents, my grandparents. And I can say that, being with our clients and hearing their stories and watching their lives has caused me to really take heed to what they're saying. And I think it's, bettering my life for sure.
Yeah, definitely inspired and something we can all live into, which is why when we do our financial plans, the very first thing we do is create a mission statement around your money, meaning what is money supposed to, what is it supposed to do for you?
What purpose is it serving? Yeah, not just not just the money side of it, the mindset side of it. Yep. Because people can get really stuck in that. Right. Do I have enough? Am I going to be okay? But it's like, okay, but what do you want to do? Yeah. What's the actual goal here?
So we actually just started implementing something where we actually are now giving a physical card that asks questions to help them create their vision. And there's 2 key questions, and then there's some categories for setting goals. Those 2 key questions we've talked about here and there, and we'll give them to you today as well. Tori's got the card in her hand so she can read them to you. But the thing is that a major part of the financial planning process is to ask yourself why and what for. And so, Tori, you want to read those?
Yeah. So there's 2 questions, and I like that it says to help you live into your next chapter, because I think that's the intentionality, right? Like you could very easily just be aimless in retirement and not have anything that you go and do and enjoy. So first question is, you learn that you will live entirely healthy for the next 5 years, and then suddenly you will meet your end. Write a list of experiences you would like to have. So, by the way, we didn't preface. These are both gut punch questions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
say that healthy again? For 5 years.
Healthy for 5 years.
You know you have 5 years, but then it ends. So no sickness, no, slow, having to be in a home or something like that. Like it's just, then it's end.
And then what you're supposed to do?
Write a list of experiences you'd like to have.
Write the list of experiences
in that 5 years.
Okay.
Okay, so then on the flip side, second question, a doctor lets you know that you have a terminal illness and you will meet your end in 30 days. Write down the regrets that you feel. So one's kind of that, you have time, what are you going to do? And one's now, you don't have time, what are you regretting?
That's so good. Write down the regrets that you feel. Gosh, what are the things that you wish you would have done? But when you think about it ahead of time, you have time to make
30 days
happen.
Isn't a lot of time to go make up for your regrets. When you're planning it now, it's...
That question makes you instantly present.
Yeah.
Aware. And
I really like the write down the regrets that you feel. I actually, when we were in Costa Rica, we were coming close to the end of our trip, and I asked the kids, I asked Nick, I asked myself, is there anything that we haven't done that you would regret not doing while we're here? And everyone was like, no, I think, we're good. It's been a great trip, Mom, thanks. And I was thinking about it, I was like, there's one thing that I think I would regret if we didn't do it. And we did it, and it was the best way to end our trip. That's when we did the catamaran sunset tour.
Well, because we went scuba diving or
snorkeling. But asking yourself, what would I regret? It gives a different perspective on the question,
and making a change because of it. Right? Like actually going and doing the thing, or
I'll tell you, that was the only thing that caused me to do that, because I'm kind of a wuss and I don't like to get in the water, especially the ocean. And especially put your face under the water. Now, listen, we have 2 clients that are certified dive instructors, and so they're going to think we're crazy for saying what I'm saying, but I'm a wuss. And Connie and we were on this catamaran, and our kids jumped in, and there was this group of like 20 people swimming toward, and I'm like, screw it, give me some goggles and some flippers. And we jumped in, and then I started swimming, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to stick my face in the water and see what's underneath of me. And
you can't be a wuss in front of your kids.
The first thing I did, so Connie and I were like at the last, and I'm like trying to catch her to wake up. Side note, Connie can't swim, okay?
I had on a life jacket. I was the only one, and I didn't even care.
And so we're trying to keep her up. So they say don't touch the rocks because, obviously they're sharp, and the current kept pushing you towards the rocks. And within 10 minutes, Connie stepped on the rock and put her big toe on a
sea urchin. For crying out loud.
She goes, ow,
you had told me that story, and it cracks me up. That's the best thing you did. And then you were injured.
My toe is killing me. For the entire swim, she's like, my toe is killing me. And like, you would go from like 30 feet of water to 10, and the next thing you know, the water pushed you over. You're in 2 feet of water floating over this sharp coral with sea urchins, lots of sea urchins. And I'm like, get us out of here. So Connie and I were the last to join the group, and we were the first to leave the group to go back to the boat. But it was quite the experience.
It was so much fun. Yeah. I'm really glad that I did it. Even though I stuck my toe, I don't care. It was great.
Yeah. So I'm glad we did it, because it was one of those things, like looking back, I don't want to say I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I hope that you find these questions helpful. If you would like us to send you these questions, put a comment in the comment section. We can get that over to you, or send us a text at 214-988-9178. We'd love for you to share this episode with others and to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's Nick here. I know that many of our listeners like to read books about financial planning. And I wrote a book called A Wealth of Wisdom. And in it, I share a story about my grandpa and his successful retirement. I also point out that his world, he retired in the 1990s, his world was very different from today's retiree. There are certain things that today's retiree must do to be successful in retirement. So there's no cost for the book. All you have to do is text us the word book to our office line, and I'll get that sent over to you right away. The number is 214-988-9178. Again, you'll text the word book to 214-988-9178.
Nick Davis is an investment advisor representative of Brindle and Bay Financial Advisors, a registered investment advisor. This show is for informational purposes only. Any exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered financial advice or a recommendation to buy or sell a financial vehicle. You should consult a qualified financial, tax, or legal professional before taking any action. This program is not endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing company. Insurance licensed in Texas, number 1188639. Brindle and Bay Wealth Management is affiliated with Brindle and Bay Financial Advisors.